Hey everybody, I was just sitting here hanging around the Outworlds doing some backups when a little fairy told me she didn't know that I collected Star Trek stuff here in the Outworlds main cave. So I figured I would give a really short video of what it's like to be a 14-year-old kid and have a show come out there like Star Trek. So if I turn around here in my chair and take a look, this is a piece of my collection from back then, 67. I started collecting everything that had the word Star Trek on it. So I got books and comic strips and novels and made trips to the Vegas show and took pictures of me standing there with the crew. Yeah, right. And collected all the bubblegum cards and comics and books and phasers and TV guides. And if it had Star Trek on it and had a photograph on it, I would have collected it. So there's all kinds of stuff here. I mean, I've had people give me stuff. I've collected stuff. There's rare stuff like these things that were shown in the movie theaters when you waited for a thing that would ask you a question and it would throw up some kind of an answer for you whenever you, every couple of slides that would cycle through. So I got a lot of dolls. I got stuff stuck in boxes. Heck, I got a whole collection of it at work because I started running out of room here. There's just dolls, and I keep some stuff in boxes. Some of it I take out of the boxes so that the neighborhood kids can come over and play. They were over here a few minutes ago asking me questions again about it. There's like, it just goes on and on and on over it from all the years of finding dolls. This is what's out at the moment. I need to organize it a little bit, obviously. Well, one of the things people ask me a lot of the time is, like, what's rare? What's unusual? What was it like back then? Well, I used to get $1 a week allowance, so I'd walk a mile down to the 7-Eleven in the summer, which makes it a little hard to be a consistent collector, and I would usually buy a comic book, which started out at 12 cents, and I could get a candy bar, usually a Hershey's candy bar, and a Coke, and maybe a couple of packs of their bubblegum cards. So that would be here. And then I would throw away the label for the bubblegum card and chew the gum. Unfortunately, the labels were about $150 a piece now, if you still have any of them, and I don't. And I would keep the cards. These were withdrawn from the market in a contractual dispute. They date back to their earliest days. I don't know, they're all individually numbered. But, you know, this is rare stuff because they apparently weren't paying the royalties to them. So I'd keep the cards. I was a bit of an idiot. I'd only keep one of each card and throw the duplicates out. Duh. And I threw the wrappers away. But I did keep the comic book. So you can see here what's kind of interesting. Here's Star Trek #1, which is 12 cents, which is kind of ridiculous when you consider how much they go for these days. And then there's another one at 12 cents. And then they decided, wait a minute, this is worth some money. So they jacked up the price to 15 and worked their way up over the years to, like, I don't know, $6, $7 now for your good comic book. I'll tell you the other thing about Star Trek. They sure didn't quite have the formula yet. If you take a look at this old beauty, I have to put the phone down here for a second maybe to get it out. Here we go. So, it's a classic old Star Trek. Big bug-eyed monsters, you know. The planet of no return. So they got to fight off these aliens and have a big battle, and they got to rescue Janice here, of course. She was the Kirk's putative girlfriend. They have a big losing battle. So what do they do in good old Star Trek style? Is let's nuke the place. So they fire up their phasers, torch it to the ground. So that's Star Trek when you're 14 years old, and the only other stuff that on TV up until then was just a joke, is the best way to describe it. Yeah, you end up with a lot of stuff, a lot of memories, have a lot of fun. You end up with a lot of glasses too, I can tell you that. Everybody brings you glasses and stuff like that. So anyway, that's a little bit of the Star Trek collection. Nimoy's ears, I actually got a set of them disintegrating in a box back here. They tend to fade after almost 50 years. This stuff tends to flow away. I got a working phaser though, that's kind of cool. Oh, this is rare. This came out years ago. Cheerios boxes. had this model. I got it in the original wrapper, of course. It's Next Generation was just coming out on the air. And so every kid in the world that got a Cheerios box tore this open and promptly destroyed it. So this is actually one of the rarer items that are floating around, because it's not been destroyed. Of course, I still eat Cheerios to this day. I did get a poster from them that's rolled up somewhere, but that required about 50 boxes before I managed to get all the coupons I needed to get one. It's tucked away somewhere. Anyway, oh, let me show you this. This is something interesting too. This is the official newsletter where they were doing things like dumping all the assets of Star Trek. Here's like the scripts. I don't know if you can see this or not, but it was $5 for an original mimeograph script. Roddenberry sent his assistant around to collect all the scripts after they filmed an episode. Picked them all up from everybody, even though they had notes on it, handwritten notes by the original actor. So you might got Spock's script for, I don't know, pick one, for $5.50 with their notes on it. And he'd sell them in these newsletters that came out. There's one of the very first newsletters and fan clubs that was ever created for any kind of a show. So he's dumping everything. In the last year, he also created merchandising. So here is the official notice that you can buy a Vulcan Idic for $7.50, which he kind of forced on Spock in one show, even though it had absolutely no sense being in there, because he wanted to sell it right here and maybe make a few bucks. So there's the rerun dates. This is what it was like. Oh, here's one of the first pendants. Kind of amazing. I wished I had money, but hey, $1 a week allowance, not much you can do. And so here's the sad thing about it, though. This is the official cancellation notice that we got, that it's actually been canceled. This is the real cancellation. It got canceled the year before. The big writing campaign got it reactivated, but it was gone. So here I am, 16 years old, and I was in tears. So that's sort of the Star Trek when you're 14 years old and 50 years later, what it feels like.